Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and we still have roster moves being made. We have Ezekiel Elliott signing to the New England Patriots, and we had Dalvin Cook officially signing to the New York Jets. And there are still moves that are going to be made throughout the course of this preseason. And then today, we're going to look and see what player should each team have on a trading block during this preseason. But before I do that, make sure you guys leave this video a like. It continues to just turn on to grow. And if you are not sub, click the sub button and the notification bell so you will not miss a video. But without further ado, let's dive into it. All right, one player each team should put on the trade block. First, we have Arizona Cardinals with Zach Ertz. I mean, he is coming off an injury. I think he had more value to a team when he was on free agency versus being traded. I don't think a team is going to give up on him so much for a guy like Zach Ertz. Even though Zach Ertz, I think, is in a position where he probably wants to be on a team where he can compete for a championship. In my opinion, the Cardinals are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL coming in 2023. So I would like to see him on another team. He's 33 already, so there's not a lot of teams going to give up but only so much for him. I would probably see more value in free agency versus him being traded. Next, we're going to go to the Rams and Tyler Higbee. I think he's going to probably garner more value on the market than he would as Zach Ertz. Of course, teams, I don't think a lot of teams are probably looking for big-time tight end help. Maybe just come in and play a role. Tyler Higbee is a guy that has been, I want to say he's been consistent throughout his course of his career with the Rams, 31 years old. So he's not a guy that is very old. He's not at the Zach Ertz age, even though it's a 2-year difference. But the Rams, they are at a point where they need to get value for some of their players because they don't have first-round picks coming up. So at this point, they need, in my opinion, to garner value for some players that could possibly be on the move. Next is the Seahawks, Darrell Taylor. He's been a very consistent player the last 2 years. I don't think they should really let him go, if you want to be honest, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, they still need pass rush help. They still need guys that can come in and rush after the quarterback, and I think Darrell Taylor is a guy that I don't think should be on the trading block, in my opinion. I just think that he should still be on the team. He's only 26, so it's not very old. So I think he is probably one of those guys that needs to be a Seahawk at this point. I don't think they should let him go. Maybe if they don't think they're going to get it, he's going to leave the team in free agency next season, maybe, but I still think they should keep on. 49ers, Trey Lance. This is very interesting. You traded all those picks to get him when you had quarterbacks like Fields still on the board, which I'm glad they didn't do that. But he's a guy that has been out on the lineup his rookie year, injured last year in game 2, and he hasn't really played much football in 3 years. I mean, what team is going to really give up something for him? I don't know. It's just at this point, I think they are in a kind of precarious position. They have a team that's ready to win now, but Lance is in a point where he still needs to play and develop. So they find themselves in a weird situation. Then on top of that, you have Sam Darnell and Brock Purdy already on the roster. Brock Purdy came in and had a very good run later on. He got hurt. Sam Darnell, I think he's probably going to be the game 1 starter if it's not Purdy, but I don't know. This is a very tricky situation for the Niners, but I don't know. Kareem Jackson for the Broncos. I mean, I don't know. This is weird. The guy's a little bit older now, as he's probably going to bring value to that team because at the end of the day, they have Surtain and they have Stearns. And I think at this point, they have a young secondary. I think he'd be better on the roster, in my opinion, but we shall see. Amik Robertson. Now, this secondary for the Raiders has been terrible the last couple of years, and I don't think they've really done anything to really improve that. When you're talking about, you bring in Duke Shelley, a former Bear, you bring in Brandon Facyson, you draft a rookie, and I don't know, this secondary has not been good, and I still don't think it's any good. And if they want to compete, I think he's probably ended up the better player in this secondary, which is not saying a lot. So I don't know if he should be on the trading block. So I don't know. Josh Palmer. This one's very interesting. You have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Problem with those two, they don't stay healthy. So they drafted Quentin Johnson, which I think with some reassurance at that receiver position. Josh Palmer has been a very solid target for Justin Herbert. So I don't think he should be on the trading block unless you think you're going to get something for him. Josh Palmer is a guy that can come in. He's been there. He's had success. He's had some run. Like I said, Allen and Williams has been unable to stay fully healthy over late. So Josh Palmer, I think, is an asset to this football team versus put him on a trading block. Unless you think you get significant value for him, I think you should keep him right there in the Chargers uniform. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this one has been talked about. He was unhealthy last year. He missed the latter half of the season due to injury. And with Pacheco and McKinnon doing the things that they done later on in the year, his value to this actual Kansas City Chiefs football team diminished. He was a former first-round pick, so I just don't think they're going to move him, even though they're in possibly a weird position, and especially with the running back market being what it is. Team is not going to give up too much for him. I think he's probably going to be better off being kept on a roster, even though Pacheco and McKinnon have been big dynamic parts, and they were big dynamic parts later on in the year, which helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. So I don't know. This running back market is crazy, even though we just seen Cook and Zeke get contracts. So
today's video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. For me, it is very important to have a VPN to protect my online privacy. It'd be very, very creepy if there was someone out there who kept a log of every single thing that you did online. So why let your internet provider really do that to you online? The best thing to do is to get yourself a VPN, and why not go with ExpressVPN, the best VPN available. Personally, I like it for the fact that you can unlock Netflix shows that you do not get in the US market. Now, one show that I've started to get myself into is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You search Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the US, it doesn't come up, but you can switch your location to Canada, and you can research Brooklyn Nine-Nine again, and bam, it pops up right then and there, and you can catch up on your episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, if you click the link in the description below, you will get 3 free months of ExpressVPN. Just by clicking the link below and you sign up today, you will get 3 months free of ExpressVPN. All you have to do is click the link down below, and you will get ExpressVPN. Now, let's just get back to the video.
Cordarrelle Patterson is another one. Now, he does have a different element with his kick return ability. The Falcons, I don't know what they're going to do with running back, even though Tyler Algier was very good for him. They drafted Bijan Robinson, and Cordarrelle Patterson is almost starting to look like a roster cut or an odd man out. I think he can still play and be a very good contributor to whatever team he's on, even if it's still with Atlanta. But I think he's probably the odd man out in Atlanta with Algier and with Bijan Robinson. But he does have the added value of he can make things happen in the kick return game. So whatever team is probably going to get him a trade for him, it's going to get a very solid player who can still break away with speed. Yetur Gross-Matos for the Panthers, and he's finally fully healthy last year. Full-time starters. He led the career at 54 tackles, but not been much of a pass rush ability. So what team is going to trade for that? He was brought in, he was drafted to be a pass rusher. Hasn't been that. What team is going to trade for him? I don't know. They had Brian Burns on the roster. They just signed Justin Houston. I don't know. I think he's probably better off in the Panther uniform. And they spent the 3rd round pick on DJ Johnson. I don't know. Out of Penn State, he was a very good pass rusher. He just hasn't been in the NFL. And what team is going to trade for him? I don't think so. I don't know, and I don't think nobody's going to do it. Saints, Jameis Winston, this is interesting. They signed Derek Carr, and Derek Carr has slight injury history. There's been talk about them trading him back to Tampa Bay. According to this, I don't think that's going to happen. And they're using Taysom Hill in different roles in his offense. So I don't know what they're going to do with Jameis. I'm surprised Jameis even went back to the New Orleans Saints. I'm actually surprised that he went back versus going somewhere he could possibly get some playing time. I don't know. This was kind of weird to me. I don't know. This one's weird. I thought he was going to go somewhere else. I really did. Surprising he ended up back. Shaquil Barrett and a torn Achilles is one of those injuries that is hard to come back. Not to say he can't come back from that, but it is hard to come back from that. And I don't think a team is going to trade for him, especially coming back off of that type of injury, giving up packs to get him. So I don't think he's going to be traded. I don't think they should have him on the market. Even though this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is still a defense that is still a very solid defense, I don't think a team should trade for him at this point, especially coming off that injury. Maybe you probably should see how he looks first. At this point, he's older in the 35. He's on a very young Texans team. Now, he can add value to the locker room with bringing in Will Anderson Jr. in the draft and probably mentoring and tooling him throughout the runs in the NFL and pass rush situations. So I think he can add value there. It's just this Texas team is not going to win. Is he going to want to go to a team that can win? Of course, any player will. I don't know what they're going to get for a 35-year-old pass rusher at this point of his career, where he hasn't been really the best, but he's not really bad either. Maybe a team like Kansas City, I don't know. Maybe. I just don't know. The Colts, Mo Alley-Cox. I think Mo Alley-Cox can still bring value to a football team, even though he's entering his age 30 year. I think they need a big target for a guy like Anthony Richardson, who was just named the starting quarterback as we record this video. So at this point, I think he's a very solid player. Texans, Jerry Hughes, that can add to this tight end room with Jelani Woods. They got Kalen Granson as a receiving threat. I think there's a lot of bodies in one room, like they said, and they say Mo Alley-Cox is expendable, but I think he should be a very good tight end for the Colts. I think he should stay in Indy. I think Indy should end up holding on to him to help develop Anthony Richardson. And that's just my opinion. Jaguars, K'Lavon Chaisson, who let's just say he hasn't worked out. They picked him in the first round of 2020. You just haven't heard anything from him because he hasn't been productive. He has 3 sacks, according to he has 3 sacks and 1 in each season. That is terrible. For a guy that was a first round pick, that is terrible. What team is going to trade for him? I know, like, seriously. What team is going to trade for a guy that hasn't been productive? I don't get it. I'm not with it. Malik Willis is an interesting candidate for the Tennessee Titans. I still don't, for the life of me, understand them moving up the draft a guy like Will Levis. And you had Malik Willis brought in last year, who was just in a terrible, terrible situation. No receiving help, and you go draft Will Levis. You still don't have much receiving help outside of DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know what is this Titans team going to do. I don't know if trading Malik Willis is a good thing for the Titans, but I think it will be a good thing for Malik Willis in his career. As seeing after year 1, they probably have already given up on him. So I think at this point, for Malik Willis' sake, he'll be better off out of Tennessee. But I think for Tennessee, they need to keep him and develop him, and they should have never drafted Will Levis, in my opinion. Tannehill's getting older. Tannehill's on contract year. I don't think Tannehill's lasting throughout the season. I don't know. The Bears, Deontay Foreman. No. He's solid. He's a solid bruising back. And on top of that, he is a guy that pairs very well as a thunder lightning type of combo with a guy like Khalil Herbert. No, even though Roschon Johnson, I think, is a bruising back as well, and we're going to see what they're going to get out of him, but trading Deontay Foreman after just signing him in free agency? No. I'm a Bears fan, and I don't agree with this one right now. I don't. Especially when you have a running game that has been dynamic. The last year that was dynamic with Fields and Herbert. So I don't agree with this one at all. I just don't. Detroit Lions, Romeo Okwara. I mean, he's been solid, but he's just been unable to stay healthy. When healthy, he's productive. But now that you have Aiden Hutchinson that's in the fold, I don't know. I mean, he's a very solid player when healthy. It's just a part of him staying healthy. And I think Detroit needs to have some rotating bodies in their pass rush. Maybe they should keep on to him. Packers, Roshan Gary. He has had some injuries with his career, but when he's productive. He had 20 sacks according to this over the last 3 seasons, so he's not a bad player. He's starting to look a lot better throughout the last couple of years, even though he had the injuries. I think they should keep on to him, especially after trading Cedarius Smith, or lead go to Cedarius Smith. They have Preston Smith, so I don't know what this team is going to do. I hope they just give him everybody. I'm a Bears fan, so whatever, but for their sake, he's been solid. I think they should hold on to him. Andrew Booth Jr. for the Minnesota Vikings. He just hasn't been healthy. He hasn't been healthy. They signed Byron Murphy Jr. in free agency. This team's defense was bad last year, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. He hasn't been healthy, so I don't know. We shall see. That's all I'm going to say. We shall see. Michael Pierce for the Baltimore Ravens. He, like a lot of players on this list, has not been able to stay healthy, and they had a free agency They asked him to take a pay cut. He has an injury history, so I don't know. A lot of players on this list seem like they've been having injury history, so what team would trade for players that they don't know they're going to be fully in game? Jackson Carman. I thought another name of this would have been Jonah Williams, as Jonah Williams asked out after signing Orlando Brown Jr., but Jackson Carman, I mean, if they don't start him, maybe. But this line needs as much depth as they can because they've been bad over the last couple of years. So I don't know if trading him would work, especially if Jonah Williams is, I don't know. Cleveland Browns, James Hudson. At this point, you could trade him and probably get some value. But like I said, it's, at this point in a preseason, regular season, maybe the Jets can use a guy like him because that offensive line has been bad, but that offensive line for the Jets also hasn't been healthy either. So I think they should keep him on the roster, even though they have Jedrick Willis, they have Jack Conklin. DeJuan Jones from The Ohio State University has looked very good as a 4th round pick, so maybe Hudson can be expendable. Maybe the Jets will be a team that can use him because that offensive line for them has not been great. He's a swing tackle, so throughout the injuries that the Jets have had throughout front, especially Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, I think he can go back that can come in and play with them. So maybe the Jets. Steelers, Levi Wallace. They lost Cam Sutton. So Levi Wallace was supposed to come in and step in and make a bigger impact on his team. I don't know. They drafted Joey Porter Jr. They signed Patrick Peterson, but I think Levi Wallace could still play a big part in their secondary. Maybe I just don't know. I think they should keep him. Michael Gallup. You got Brandon Cooks, you got CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup can be a very good 3rd wide receiver in this offense. Very good 3rd wide receiver in this offense. I just don't think they should trade. They can get value for him, don't get me wrong, but they should keep him. He can add value in this offense. I don't think they'd be better off keeping him. Sterling Shepard. This is interesting. The Giants still don't have receivers. Darius Slayton, he's been okay. Isaiah Hodges, okay. But the problem with Sterling Shepard, just like a lot of other players on this list, is he hasn't been healthy. And that is the big thing with him in his career. When he's healthy, of course, very solid wide receiver. Just hasn't been healthy. They signed Paris Campbell this offseason from The Ohio State University. Trading him, what are you going to get? Because, like a lot of players, like I said, not able to stay healthy. You're not going to get anything for him. You're better off cutting him if you don't want him, because no team is going to trade for a player that hasn't been able to stay healthy, and that is a big thing in Sterling Shepard's career. Milton Williams. Now, Milton Williams, I mean, I can see that with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, both Georgia products up front, but you got Fletcher Cox who's getting older. They lost Javon Hargrave, so I think you should keep him just for the depth's sake. Like I said, Cox is getting older. So at this point, as much as Fletcher Cox has been productive, at some point you're going to need depth on this roster. So I think you should be off keeping him, especially with Jordan Davis, who's a bigger body, who is more of a rotational piece, and Jalen Carter, who we don't know what's going to happen with him and all that, with some of the off the field stuff and the character things. So I think keeping Milton Williams, I think will be key for them. Chase Young, like I said, I would love for him to be a Chicago Bear. Chase Young out of The Ohio State University. It's crazy that he did not pick up his 5th-year option, so he slated to go into free agency this year. And if you know you're going to lose him, maybe you can get something for him. I think he's probably one of those players that is going to be a candidate, probably at the trade deadline, as lately in years we've seen more trades happen at the deadline in the NFL than years past. So I could probably see a guy like Chase Young probably getting dealt at the deadline. Let him come in, have some value, because I don't think this Washington Commanders team is going to be competing anytime soon, especially with their quarterback situation. So I think he's probably going to be one of those guys that is going to be a deadline deal. Is it the Bears? I mean, I'm praying and hope so, but I think he's more of a deadline deal versus trade this preseason. That's just me. Buffalo Bills, AJ Epineza. I mean, they acquired talent this offseason. He's in the final year of his rookie contract. I mean, even though I think he should be a part of this defense that really trying to compete for a Super Bowl, maybe getting some off of him, but I think he's still young, he's still productive. So, and they just signed a guy like Leonard Floyd, and they have Shaq Lawson, who are a little bit older. So, I don't know. I think keeping him will be a good thing for him, but Miami Dolphins, Andrew Van Ginkel. Now, this is a team that I think is improved, especially with the bringing in of a Jalen Ramsey, even though he's hurt right now. You have Emmanuel Ogbah, who was returning from injury, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. So Van Ginkel can be a little bit expendable at this point. So I can see why they have him on this list, but he's been a solid player for them. So maybe I don't think they trade him. I think they keep him to him. Deatrich Wise Jr. for the Patriots. You have Matthew Judon, who just got some money, and he's been a solid player for them. I mean, maybe he has a couple of years left on his deal. I just don't think I just don't think they'll let him go. It's one of those players where he's been productive, and I don't think they'll let him go. Maybe, but Bill Belichick has a tendency to get rid of players when you don't think they'll get rid of them. So we shall see, but I think they should keep him. Carl Lawson. Now, there's been talk around Bryce Huff on the trading block. I think the Jets will get more for him if they traded Bryce Huff than they will Carl Lawson. So I think that's a wait-and-see deal. They have Will McDonald, who they drafted, Jermaine Johnson, who I think could be a breakout player for him. Bryce Huff has been productive. I think they're better off trading him because I think they can get more of valuable picks for him than with a Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson can still be productive, but I just think they'll be better off trading Bryce Huff if they trade anybody. But hey, that's just it for the video. Make sure you guys leave the video a like, comment your thoughts down below, click the sub button, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.